Hello, hello. Welcome or welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Laura. I'm a fashion historian, and my mission is to become your go-to source for diverse histories of global fashion. Today, I'm sharing some loose thoughts about how my values relate to my research and what I like to think of as a values-based approach to fashion. They have all been essential to shaping what I call my public facing scholarship, which includes my social media activities, my YouTube channel, and this bi weekly newsletter, where I basically share reflections and half formed ideas that I hope will help us dismantle the fashion canon and reshape fashion as we know it today. So let's dive in. Dear fashion thinkers, I was hoping to send this last week, but as you can tell, it didn't happen. I got caught with grading students' extended essay proposals and DMA reports, and by the time I remembered about the newsletter, it was already Sunday. So I decided to just leave it for this week. And I'm glad I did, because it gave me time to gather some inspiration and produce some new loose thoughts rather than simply sending a recorded version of a recent conference paper, which is what I had in mind. That inspiration sadly came from illness. This week, I finally caught the seasonal cold that forced me to take a break after going since the end of August when I wrapped up my summer shenanigans in Colombia and crossed the Atlantic for the millionth time. It's actually the seventh, my lucky number, but it feels like it's the millionth to start a new academic year in England. Slowing down and disconnecting from my teaching and research duties for a little while helped me process some ideas that have been simmering in the back of my mind, but I hadn't given a lot of attention to. These ideas are largely about who I am as a person, what I truly value and care about, and how they might connect, or not, with my life as a public figure. I've been consciously thinking about my values for years now, especially since I attended a life changing workshop on values based curatorial practice with Paul Ingram, facilitated by the Center for Curatorial Leadership in 2021. Since then, not only have I become more aware of the importance of considering my values every time I make a decision about my career, but I've also started to be more interested in understanding how they play into other aspects of my life. Maybe that's why I became Susie Welch's biggest fan the moment I heard her speak about the centrality of values in her Becoming You program. Plus, I want to be her when I grow up, but that's the subject of a different conversation. Naturally, values have been central as I navigate this stage of life that I've been transitioning into since January, which somehow still feels very new. You may have seen on Instagram part of this transition, and you may have also noticed that I've started working with a fantastic coach, Mel, to help me navigate the transition. And you may know from previous loose thoughts that perhaps for the first time ever, I am quite content with just, in air quotes, being a professor and researching and writing and teaching about fashion. Now that I think about it, maybe that's why I haven't had a super strict publication schedule since I moved to London in January. But I'm still choosing to stay here. And I don't want to ever have a reason to stop writing this newsletter, or for that matter, to stop producing new podcast episodes, even if they only come every month or so, or closing my social media, even if it overwhelms me at times. That's also why I insist on having this YouTube channel where I will one day finally start to upload some of the 3-minute fashion lessons that I've been dreaming about for years. When I discussed it with Mel, I realized that I keep doing all of this public facing scholarship because it brings me joy and because it matters deeply to me. I'm critical of academia as it exists today, but I've grown convinced that there are some things that I can do to facilitate change from within. And I may have to thank Ben Berry and Deborah Christel's book on fashion education, subject of this month's book club, and a long conversation with Jonathan Square in Hyde Park to thank for that. As a woman and Latina professor, I can be a role model to students both within and outside my institution, someone they can mirror their future careers on. I can also hope to be the advisor I never had, although I can't be more thankful for the absolutely amazing mentors I found throughout my academic journey, both within the institutions I've attended and outside. But I also realize that there's only so much I can do to dismantle academia as a professor from within. And the more I think about it, the more convinced I grow that it is by publicly sharing both my knowledge and my academic journey that I can truly contribute to redressing fashion and fashion education, though I'm definitely figuring out how on the go. You may be wondering at this point, what does all of this have to do with redressing fashion or with this newsletter that you're subscribed to? That's exactly what I've been trying to figure out myself. But I think I finally saw it after this hell of a cold hit me on Monday evening. It's the values behind it. On a group call with my creator friends this week, we were asked to respond to the prompt, I am the type of friend who. For me, it all came back to the little things that make me feel connected with my loved ones, even if they're miles away and often at the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. So, I'm the type of friend who'll make you dinner instead of going out to a new hot restaurant in town. I'm the type of friend who will send you a little care package when you're not feeling great instead of texting you every day and sometimes even calling you for your birthday. Sorry. And I'm the type of friend who'll sit with you to discuss your values when you ask for advice on what to wear, instead of thinking about your skin tone or your body type or your occupation or whatever. And that's when it clicked. For me, it all goes back to love, trust, connection, compassion, and making a difference, all while doing a tiny bit to dismantle existing hierarchies and systems. You guessed it. Those are my key values, as cheesy as they sound. Those same values I've come to understand are what contemporary fashion, normative research, and traditional academia lack. So maybe that's why reconnecting with them can help us redress fashion as we know it. Or maybe that's how I can use it to redress fashion. Anyway, after several months of trying to get out of my comfort zone, especially on social media, and trying to open up to different research topics, I've finally come around full circle to my ongoing research on Latin American and indigenous fashion and textile arts. But hopefully now being more mindful about how they relate to my values and how I am making a difference by choosing to research, write about, and teach about these subjects. So do expect more of that and hopefully less personal reflections next time. As always, if you have thoughts about any of what I said today, please, please, please share your ideas by leaving a comment, reaching out to me on social media, or replying to my email newsletter if you're subscribed. I'd love to know them. Thank you, thank you, thank you for reading, watching, and joining the conversation. And until next time.